Hello and welcome to Clearview TV News. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. In the news, federal government to adopt short, mid and long-term measures including improving infrastructure to resolve Apapa gridlock and ease traffic around the area. Kogi State All Progressives Congress factions resolve differences, pledged to ensure re-election of Governor Yahaya Bello in the November 2019 governorship election. And Ethiopian Army Chief of Staff General Sier Mekonnen shot dead in Addis Ababa while trying to prevent a coup attempt against the administration. I am Ten Ekman with details of these and other stories. In our list story, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo has arrived in New York on a 4-day visit to the United States of America. Osinbajo and members of his entourage arrived at the shelter wing of the J.F. Kennedy International Airport at 12:38 a.m. local time. That was about 5:38 Nigerian time, and was received by the Nigerian ambassador to the U.S., retired Justice Sylvanus Nsofo. Other Nigerian officials of the country's missions with Nsofo included Nigeria's permanent representative to the UN, Ambassador Tijani Muhammad Bande, and the Consul General of Nigeria in New York, Mr. Ben Okoyin. The Vice President is scheduled to meet with his U.S. counterpart Mike Pence in Washington on Wednesday, according to presidential spokesman Laolu Akonde. Akonde, in a statement on Saturday, said that both leaders would be discussing matters of mutual interest between Nigeria and the U.S. Ahead of his meeting with Pence, Osinbajo would be the guest speaker at a forum tagged A Conversation with Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Nigeria's Economic Prospects. The event will be hosted by the Council on Foreign Relations, CFR, an independent and non-partisan think tank established to help Americans better understand the world. The Vice President is expected to speak on Nigeria's economic recovery, investment and growth opportunities, and the recent general elections. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government is adopting short-term, mid-term and long-term measures including improving infrastructure towards resolving the Apapa gridlock and easing traffic around the area. Professor Osinbajo said this on Saturday when he went round the Apapa area in Lagos State to inspect progress of ongoing work to clear the gridlock. The Vice President visited different areas of Apapa, including the truck terminal near Ijora, the entrance into the Nigerian Port Authority, Liverpool and Tin Can Island, as well as several roads projects in the area to ascertain the level of work done by the Presidential Task Force saddled with the responsibility of clearing the area. Speaking to reporters after the inspection, Professor Osinbajo, who was accompanied by Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu and the Managing Director NPA Hadiza Bala Usman, said a lot of work has been done so far with more to be accomplished. It will be recalled that the Presidential Task Team began its work on May 24 following a presidential directive issued for the immediate clearing of the Apapa gridlock and the restoration of law and order to Apapa and its environs. The directive mandated the immediate removal of all tracks from the bridges and roads within Apapa and all adjoining streets leading into the Apapa axis to allow for free flow of traffic around the area. Following a request by members of the task force and other stakeholders, Vice President Osinbajo earlier in June at a meeting at the Presidential Villa Abuja approved the extension of the previous deadline. The task force, which commenced its assignment on May 24, is now expected to present a formal report at the end of its extended mandate on June 24. On ways to sustain the work done to decongest the traffic in the area, Professor Osinbajo said, having understood what the problem is and with the work done so far to resolve it, there was no doubt that it will be sustained. President Muhammadu Buhari has condoled with people and government of Rivers State following the death of some workers in gas pipeline tragedy in the state. The president, in a statement by his senior special assistant on media and publicity, Malam Garba Shehu, in Abuja on Saturday, also condoled with the families of the victims. President Buhari said he was extremely pained by the loss of lives as a result of the incident. He therefore asked for a thorough investigation to determine what is responsible for the gas pipeline tragedy in Oyibo local government area of Rivers, in which several fatalities were reported. The gas tragedy reportedly occurred at Comcom community of Oyibo local government area on Saturday when workers were fixing a faulty section of the pipeline. And moving on now, in fulfillment of his campaign promise to transform schools across the state, Benue State Governor Samuel Atom has directed the immediate rehabilitation of the Government Girls Model Secondary School and a special school for exceptional children, both in Aliade, Gwe West, and East Local Government area of the state. He gave the directive on Saturday when he made an unscheduled visit to the institution. During the visit, the governor directed the immediate construction of a perimeter fence round Government Girls Model Secondary School to guarantee security in the institution. And on behalf of Governor Otom apologized to the students for keeping them in the current learning environment and assured them that the school will wear a new look before the end of the year. The governor encouraged the students to study hard and resist any temptation to commit negative acts capable of jeopardizing their future. Briefing newsmen after the inspection of structures special school for exceptional children, the governor said his visit was based on reports of decay in the schools. He expressed the determination of his administration to give facelift to the dilapidated government schools in order to make them conducive for students and teachers. It will be recalled that during his first term, the Otom administration commenced the renovation of schools, which, among other things, were Government Girls Secondary School Makudi as well as Government College Makudi. The Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project (SERAP) has filed a lawsuit in the Federal High Court, Lagos, against the Code of Conduct Bureau (CCB) over the CCB's claim that it could not disclose details of asset declarations submitted to it by successive presidents and state governors since 1999, because doing so would offend the right to privacy of presidents and state governors. The CCB had last week refused the Freedom of Information request by SERAP, stating that asset declaration form is private information. But in the suit filed last Friday, SERAP argued that asset declarations of presidents and state governors submitted to the CCB are public documents. The group insisted that public interest in disclosure of the details of asset declarations sought by SERAP clearly outweighs any claim of protection of the privacy of presidents and state governors, as they are public officers entrusted with the duty to manage public funds, among other public functions. According to SERAP, a necessary implication of the rule of law is that a public institution like the CCB can only act in accordance with the law, as to do otherwise may enthrone arbitrariness. It opined that the CCB does not have reasonable grounds on which to deny SERAP's Freedom of Information request, as it is in the interest of justice to the Nigerian public, transparency and accountability to publish details of asset declarations by president and state governors since the return of democracy in 1999. The Nigerian Immigration Service has said it will roll out the new passports in Lagos on Tuesday. Comptroller General of the NIS, Mohammed Babande, stated this on Saturday while addressing officers and men of the Lagos Command and Formations. He said the new passport will be linked and synchronized with individuals' national identification number. Babande stated that nobody will be issued the new passport without the NIN. According to him, there are also plans for the new passport booklet, which will be in 32 and 65 pages to be produced locally. He explained that the NIS will not stop the issuance of the old passport to those who had applied, as both the old and new would run concurrently until the former will be phased out completely. The CG also warned personnel of the NIS against corruption and sharp practices. He said they should avoid aiding and abetting service seekers in the procurement of breeder documents for NIS facilities, noting that doing so would be culpable by the Immigrations Act 2015. Babandi also called on the officers and men to comply with Executive Order 01 on transparency and ease of doing business, stating that NIS, as an elite service provider, must contribute its quota to the economic development of the country through facilitation of corrupt-free atmosphere for direct foreign investment. Bauchi State High Court has granted an order stopping Shehu Damina and Tukuru Ibrahim as Bauchi Speaker and Deputy Speaker, according to a court order from Bauchi State High Court signed by Assistant Registrar Garba Yakubu. It read that the third and fourth defendants and respondents were refrained from holding themselves or parading themselves, purporting to act in whatever manner as a Speaker and Deputy Speaker of Bauchi State House of Assembly respectively, pending the determination of the motion on notice. The court, however, adjourned the matter to the second day of the month of July 2019 for motion on notice. And Kogi State All Progressives Congress-led faction of Hadi Ahmetuo and Abdullahi Bello has resolved to work together as one party under the leadership of Governor Yahaya Bello in order to achieve victory come November 2019 governorship elections. The resolution was made public after the indoor meeting of Hadi faction and Abdullahi faction with Governor Bello in Abuja, Kogi Government House. In Asokoro, correspondent Anita Patrick has details of that report.
Over 200,000 card-carrying members of the Hadi Ahmetuo faction of the state APC have decided to call a truce with the State Executive Committee of the party led by Abdullahi Bello. They say the aim is to build a stronger party in the state which will ensure Governor Yahaya Bello's re-election in November. He said machinery has been set in motion to withdraw the case filed at the Federal High Court, Abuja.
The technicality, as I've said, you are aware of situations that happened to our party in Rivers State. You happened just of recent, there was Supreme Court judgment that made us lost all the elected members, Senate, National Assembly, and State Assembly members in Zamfara State. These are the technicalities that we do not want. That is why we have agreed to put in process to withdraw the case from the court. We have agreed to put in process the withdrawal of the case. I'm not a lawyer, but I know it is not just something you put in a place that will have this. But for us to have agreed that because we do not know the effect of the case in court, we have agreed by the special grace of God to begin the process of the withdrawal of the case at the Federal High Court of Abuja here.
The Director General of Media and Publicity to the Governor, Kingsley Fanwo, and the state's APC Party Public Relations Officer, Jibri Abu, described the move as a giant step forward.
It is instructive to know that there were resolutions here. And the resolution is that, one of the resolutions is that the two groups have been welded into one group from today. So we don't have factions anymore in Kogi State. The party is under the leadership of Governor Yahaya Bello. That is one. The second of the resolutions is that our party, we are not talking of factions anymore. All of us, including the current executives of the party and the immediate past executives of the party, will work together to ensure that APC retains Kogi and retains it strongly.
Fanwo said such reconciliation is what democracy is all about.
It is not about the mechanism that Alhaji Ismail was talking about. It is the mechanism that will follow the resolutions. There are resolutions already. But for the resolutions to stand, the mechanisms that will reinforce the belief and the assurances, the strong commitments and assurances that have been given by the governor, who as the leader of the party wants the party to move forward, the mechanisms are to reinforce it and help to implement it so that confidence could be built. That is the mechanism he's talking about. But rising from this meeting, there is a resolution for the party to become one.
The division in Kogi State APC began in 2015 after the death of victorious APC governorship candidate Abubakar Audu and the tussle over who succeeded him. The choice of Yaya Bello over James Faleke was the major cause of the rift, but this reconciliation of the factions after several attempts seemed to have finally put the matter to rest. Annie T. Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
You're watching the news coming to you on Clearview TV. We'll take a short break, and when we come back, the rest of the news continues.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Kotonkafri. Immediately she came, we received her warmly, and as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for a doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here. It's a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach. She was already in labor, so she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick too. He said, "I been no sick no. Money, picking, land and way. Don't sit to do me. Mo gba ko bo lọ́wọ́ mi. Èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà. Kò sí problem. Wọ́n attend mi gidigidi. Wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o. Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nurse àti doctor, Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o. Kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yaya Bello. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ̀ o. Ọlọ́run ó máa gbé lókè o. Wájú ní wọn lọ. Kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o. Ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program, and we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure, and we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
Welcome back. And to security matters, now stakeholders have gathered in Gusau, the Zamfara state capital, to sensitize youth on the effects of drug abuse in the society. They appeal to government at all levels to intensify the campaign against the danger of drug abuse. Clearview TV's correspondent has more.
This gathering of politicians, members of the academia, traditional rulers, religious leaders, medical professionals, and other concerned citizens is to sensitize youth on the need to refrain from taking drugs and other harmful substances which are capable of posing danger to their lives and that of others in the society. The head of Psychiatric Department, Federal Medical Center, Gusau, Dr. Aremu Saad, said the fight against drugs abuse is everybody's business, hence all hands must be on deck to tackle the menace in the society. The representative of the commander of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Akpan Akpabio, raised an alarm at the rate women have joined in abusing drugs nowadays.
Depression, psychosis, like Prof said, the head will turn and they will be misbehaving. So we need to know. People have killed themselves because of drugs. They've attempted suicide. You will not understand. When you find out they killed them, it might be as a result of drugs. Some of the youth you see nowadays committing suicide, some of them are on drugs. So it's as bad as that. We must arrest 2 women. We must arrest 2 young men. They need to abide to same way. Smoking at night. So the women are becoming people in the area of drugs and abuse as our state.
Other speakers have on the need for prompt action by the government to salvage the society of drug abuse, especially among youths. Some citizens of the state were recognized for their outstanding contributions in the campaign against drugs, abuse and youth empowerment. Aniete Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
The Commissioner of Police and for State Command Usman Nagogo has identified a makeable resolution as one of the viable ways to address the present security challenges confronting the state. He made a submission during a meeting with Civilian Joint Task Force JTF and vigilantes in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital. Correspondent Nietia Patrick reports.
The Zamfara State government and the security agencies have continued to find lasting solutions to the lingering and escalating insecurity in the state. This informed the meeting between the Commissioner of Police, Civilian Joint Task Force and JTF vigilantes to discuss ways of addressing the menace of banditry, kidnapping and cattle rustling in the state. The Commissioner of Police, Usman Nagogo, appealed to citizens of the state to avoid taking the law into their hands as efforts are being made by security agencies to resolve the problem amicably. The security advisor to Zamfara State Governor Abubakar Dauran assured people that the state government is working round the clock to bring an end to prevailing security situation.
That's the issue that we want to tackle, and that's what the Commissioner of Police wants to do. That's why it's all of them to come and at least obey the law and order, so that at least the capital will be a peaceful place.
Secretary of the Civilian Joint Task Force JTF, Sani Labaran, however, lamented lack of prompt response of security agents whenever incidents of attacks have been reported. The Civilian Joint Task Force and vigilantes have expressed their readiness to cooperate with security agencies towards achieving lasting solution in the state. Anita Patrick, reporting for Clearview Television.
In a bid to further curtail kidnapping incidents in Ondo and Ekiti states, the Nigerian Army has procured some anti-kidnapping drones to fight hoodlums hiding in the 2 states. It was gathered that the drones will be employed to search for the hideouts of criminals in the bushes and forests in the 2 states. At the launch of the drones in Osi community in Akure on Friday, the Commander 32 Artillery Brigade of the Nigerian Army, Akure Brigadier General Zachary Abubakar, said the newly acquired drones will be deployed to flashpoints in the 2 states. He said that the Chief of Army Staff Major General Tuku Buratai has directed that kidnapping and other crimes be eliminated from both states through the use of technology. The commander added that the anti-kidnapping squad earlier formed by the brigade for the 2 states will make use of the 2 drones to locate hideouts of kidnappers. 7 Chadian soldiers and a local guard were killed in a Boko Haram jihadist ambush in Lake Chad, the latest in the surge of attacks in the region. security sources reported on Sunday. Boko Haram militants have been waging a decade-long insurgency in northwest Nigeria, but the conflict has split into Lake Chad, where Nigeria borders Niger, Chad, and Cameroon. Security sources said the 7 Chadian soldiers under guard were killed in an ambush on Friday in Mbomuga in Chad's Ngoboa area, and another 13 people were wounded. Among the soldiers killed was a gendarme colonel, the source said. Another source said 3 army officers were killed in the attack. Since 2018, Boko Haram has carried out at least 9 attacks on Chad, but the jihadist group has stepped up attacks outside Nigeria after a period of calm last year. Last month, militants killed 4 people in an attack on a Cameroonian island on the Lake Chad, and Boko Haram killed another 13 villagers in eastern Chad. In March, jihadists killed at least 23 Chadian soldiers in an attack on an army post in the group's deadliest attack on the country's military. Since 2015, troops from Cameroon, Chad, Niger, and Nigeria have been grouped into a mixed multinational force in a bid to help fight the Islamist militants. The Coalition of Southeast Youths has described a statement by Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria to be allowed to establish Fulani vigilantes in the southeast as an insult to the people of the zone. The coalition, in a statement by its president Goodluck Ibem on Sunday, said the request by Miyetti Allah was an abomination in Igbo land, adding that only indigenes of the land and communities have the right to guard themselves. The group wondered that if the Miyetti Allah could not chase away armed bandits on Kaduna-Abuja highway, stop the killings in Zamfara, Adamawa, and Borno State, and the only place they are concerned about is southeast. The coalition also warned southeast governors and traditional rulers never to give out any portion of Igbo land to Miyetti Allah or any other cattle rearers association in the zone. And similarly, the movement for the actualization of the sovereign state of Biafra has lambasted state governors in the southeast for failing to defend the Igbo land when the leaders of the Miyetti Allah Cattle Breeders Association of Nigeria offered to raise a vigilante outfit to protect the region. Masob explained that while the governors and leaders in the southwest are suggesting ways to tackle the menace of herdsmen within their states, governors in Igbo land could not reject this suggestion. Director of Information of Masob Sunday Okerafo said the Igbo should know that the attitude of their governors was an indication that they had no leader. Also, the Pan-Niger Delta Forum also condemned the calls by the Cattle Breeders Association. Pandef warned the federal government not to heed the demands of the group, saying the government should stop treating the group with obnoxious impunity. In a statement on Saturday signed by Pandef's National Secretary Alfred Molade, he stated that the call was misplaced, promising to stand with other socio-cultural bodies, including the Ohanese Indigbo and Afenifere, to ensure failure of such plan. Pandef asked the group to rather form a vigilante group to tackle insurgency in the troubled northeast. The Arewa Consultative Forum has backed the federal government's moves to ban the Al-Majri system in the north. Spokesman for the ACF, Alhaji Mohammed Ibrahim Biu, in a statement on Saturday said the group would support efforts to boost Western education in the region. Ibrahim Biu said the children we see begging on the streets are in the real sense not Al-Majri, saying that some were abandoned by their parents. According to him, the President's appeal to state governments to provide free, compulsory, and universal basic education for every child of school age is in order. And as the federal government ponders the proscription of the Al-Majri system of education in its desperate bid to curb pervasive insecurity and poverty, especially in the north, experts and interest groups are cautioning against swift actions without a well-thought-out plan that would ensure sustainability. While the Center for Democracy and Development (CDD) is of the view that the move could be a ruse or at best a political statement as there were no workable structures to support the plan, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center (CISLAC) wants the wicked system eliminated with military alacrity. Al-Majri, a system of education in Islam practiced in northern Nigeria, permits a person to leave his home in search of knowledge. The National Security Advisor, Babagana Mongono, who spoke at the end of the National Executive Council NEC meeting in Abuja last week, said the planned ban is to ensure that no child is deprived of basic education. But the lead director of the Center for Social Justice, Sensoj, Eze Onyekpere, said doing away with the system without a proper blueprint remains a recipe for greater disaster, since the affected kids are already a veritable supply source for Boko Haram terrorists. According to Onyekpere, banning Al-Majri without a well-formulated plan as to what to do with them will be another attestation that the current administration has no capacity to govern the country. For development economist Odilim Enwegbara, it is only a legislation that will control the growing Al-Majri phenomenon, just the way that China succeeded in controlling her population through birth policy law. He added that for the plan to become a success and remain sustainable, there was need for the overhaul of the entire education system, as well as putting in place a social security plan that can guarantee tranquility in the country. A Libioba community at Agbo Technical College in the Ika South Local Governor of Delta State was thrown into mourning on Friday as flood killed the pastor's two sons. Testimony and Godwin, aged 15 and 11 years. The flood occasioned by a torrential rainfall that began around 5 p.m. was said to have killed the two children. Testimony was a JSS1 pupil of Agbo Technical College, and his brother Godwin was a primary 5 pupil of Alibioba Primary School. An eyewitness account noted that the two brothers were returning home from a farm when they mistakenly stepped into a gutter a few meters away from their home. It was gathered that the bereaved father, Reverend Chosen Goodday, received a distress call by a teenager in the area who informed him that the flood had swept away his two sons. It was learnt that the father and his two sons rushed home from the farm following weather change. When they got home, the children carried some basins to fetch rainwater. The eyewitness said Godwin fell into the gutter first, and Testimony, in a bid to rescue him, also fell, and both were swept away by the flood. Goodday said when his sons went to fetch water, he lay down on the bed to relax, but slept off. Some indigenes of Siwin in the Obafemi or Wode local government area of Ogun State have bemoaned attacks by unknown soldiers and miscreants over allegation of unleashing Oro deity on residents. During the attacks, 4 indigenes of the area, namely Tajuddin, Sufela, Nuruddin Salami, Taye Adeyemi, and Adekunle Abaji, were allegedly injured by the soldiers and miscreants on the orders of a monarch for performing the Oro festival without authorization. This came as men of Ibara Prison, Ogun Command, on Friday shot a suspect, Kamoru Adebayo, after he allegedly escaped from a Black Maria on the premises of the Abeokuta Magistrates Court. Both the Baale of Shirin Nuruddin, Sofela, and the injured persons denied performing Oro festival, saying on that day their families did a Thanksgiving to celebrate Ogun, the god of iron. Sofela, in an interview, denied allegations that he was using Oro to chase out residents and visitors to the community during the day. He said he had yet to understand the reason behind the unleashing of soldiers and thugs on them for making a sacrifice to their ancestors. He urged relevant authorities to investigate the incident and bring the perpetrators of the dastardly acts to book. Narrating his ordeal in the hands of soldiers, Salami, a senior security officer with Obafemi or Wode local government area, said he lost 2 of his teeth to the attack. Meanwhile, the suspect who attempted to escape was reportedly remanded in prison for alleged cultism and robbery by the magistrate court in Abeokuta. The Comptroller of Prisons Ogun Command, Abola De Benson, said the suspect had been kept in police custody for 3 weeks before he was arraigned on 2 counts and subsequently handed over to the prison officials who were in the court premises. He explained that the prison officers then kept him in the prison vehicle parked on the court premises awaiting for other suspects who were in the court. Benson said the suspect forcefully opened the door and jumped out of the vehicle. Speaking on his escape, Adeboye, who claimed to be a mechanic, said He escaped because he was scared of the inmates in the vehicle and the hardship that awaited him in prison. A youth group, Young African Leaders Initiative, says this year's summit of the group will be focused on initiating solutions to a myriad of problems facing Nigerian youths. As correspondent Busola Oworo now tells us, the two-day summit, which kicks off in Abuja on Monday, June 24, is another attempt by youth to tackle growing unemployment among them, the reports. We'll bring you that report when it is ready. Up next, it's time for a short break. We'll be back with foreign news and sports. Stay with us.
The Healthcare Plus program in Kogi State was initiated by Governor Yahaya Bello to reduce neonatal and maternal deaths by offering free medical services and commodities to pregnant women from conception through delivery. The program has kicked off and is witnessing immense success as women now take to antenatal care. There have been unique stories from center to center, and we'll share in weekly episodes a few of the most unique cases. Welcome to Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week.
She was referred from Primary Health Center, Jegubeki, to General Hospital, Koton. Immediately she came, we received her warmly. And as a midwife, I checked her and know that the presentation is abnormal. So immediately I sent for a doctor, and doctor came immediately.
Actually, our patient is from Jegu, under Healthcare Plus. She was rushed here with a brief presentation of baby in a term. So we went for scan, and it was complete breach with already in labor. So she was taken to theater. Thank God the outcome was wonderful. A live baby boy went almost 3.8. Today, the mother and the baby is alive, sound and healthy, happy.
Baby was sick too. He said, "I've been more sick for me. When he land and way, wọ́n sì tọ́jú mi, wọn ò gba kọ́bọ̀ lọ́wọ́ mi, èmi àti ọmọ mi a sì wà, kò sí pírọ́blẹ́mù, wọ́n attend mi gidigidi, wọ́n ṣe mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ wọn o, Ọlọ́run ó ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o. Nọ́ọ̀sì àti dókítà, Ọlọ́run ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ o, Ọlọ́run ó dúró tì wọ́n o, kò ní padà lẹ́yìn wọn o. Mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Yàyà Bello, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ rẹ o. Ọlọ́run máa gbé lókè o, wájú ní wọn lọ, kò ní lu ẹ̀yìn mọ́ o, ó ṣe mo dúpẹ́ o.
In fact, we don't know how to appreciate the government and what they are doing. The Healthcare Plus is actually helping the people of this environment by saying, may God give him the strength to continue this wonderful work.
We thank Yaya Bello for this program. And we pray for Yaya Bello to continue with this program till the end of his tenure. And we pray for Yaya Bello to come back for the second time so that he can continue his good job. Thank you.
And that's it on this episode of Healthcare Plus Baby of the Week. Keep a date with us for another exciting episode.
látòrí ìdárayá kí orí ọdọ látòrí ọdọ nílùú títí dé orí àwọn lọ́balọ́ba àti ìjòyè ra wọn yìí. Ẹ̀kọ́ àti àṣà àti ìṣera. Ètò ẹ̀jáyé ìgbóra ó ti rá láti jẹ́ àwọn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀. Ní agbègbè ra àti àyíkára lílẹ̀ ọkùn. Ẹ̀ agbọ́ra ẹ̀ àwòrà níbi ètìyàwó ra ẹ̀. Ètò ẹ̀jáyé ìgbóra àti mọ́rin gbogbo ní bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ ẹ̀ àwòrà lórí rẹ̀. Ẹja sọmọ kọ́ ọmọ sọ.
Ni ahoime bawoni enwome ati sojete bawoni iresu amohi baki epezwe ati ameme woroka me da shekura novede ebiraba beva sezone ni isamuhi oneri odovide kura ame oneri saza esikameni avabani voneva sevore diaka iresu ebiraba be tv oneva save ovi down dozile sokoko etura noni ebiraba be yavabe inyo ishehun dia novede.
This used to be me. But that was before I got the perfect bag. It's handy and easy to use. All I need in one compact space, just like my MTN Extra Value plan. I used to get one plan for my calls and then try to remember which data plan worked for me. Roaming was a totally different ballgame. Not anymore. I've got the MTN Extra Value all-in-one plan. If you're a data buff like me, you get extra data with some talk time. And if you like to make calls, you get extra talk time with some data. And when I'm abroad, I automatically browse, chat, and call right on the same plan. MTN Extra Value was made just for me.
More of data or calls, whichever one you prefer. MTN Extra Value is made just for you.
Welcome back. And just before our foreign stories, we had earlier told you that the youth group Young African Leaders Initiative says this year's summit of the group will be focused on initiating solutions to the myriad of problems facing the Nigerian youths. And as Clearview TV correspondent Busola Aworo now tells us, the two-day summit, which kicks off in Abuja on Monday, June 24, is another attempt by youths to tackle growing unemployment among them. The reports now.
It is observed that most youths are faced with one challenge or the other, which could be a catalyst to the development and growth of a country. Records from United Nations Economic Commission also proves that Africa has the largest youth age group across the world. These youths are being affected by various factors, not limited to unemployment, lack of skills, lack of quality education, quality healthcare, among many others. The Young Africa Leaders Initiative, known as YALI, is taking a step higher to address issues facing Nigerian youths in 21st century. It hopes to achieve this through a summit which aims at encouraging inclusive governance for youth development and public partnership in helping youth tackle challenges they are faced with.
Across the nation, our hubs have been carrying out activities aimed at not just suicide and depression, but mental health as a whole. While it seems as if we have more and more cases of suicide, we also have to admit that we also contributors. So it's about how the press reports this. So if you're going to announce that this person used sniper, for the person that is on the verge, you're giving him an idea. Okay, so sniper this person, I should go and do that. So that will cause suicide cluster. You're focused on the cause of death, and the way you report it gives those who are on that verge ideas.
I trust that we would have more groomed youths that would want to participate in government policy that would contribute to the development of their societies. And since we are bringing in delegates from across the 36 states and then FCT as well, I believe that they would be able to get the tools, the information to make the necessary changes in their society.
This year's summit, scheduled to hold on Monday, June 24th to Tuesday, June 25th, is tagged Paradigm Shifts, Youth Inclusion in Government Policies for Sustainable Development. Young African leaders across different states in Nigeria where YALI hubs are instituted are expected to provide initiatives that will strengthen the role of government in resourcefully providing the needs of youths. Busola Aworo, reporting for Clearview Television.
A 22-year-old man, Mustafa Aliyu, has confessed to beheading 3 boys and 1 girl in various villages in the outskirts of Abuja. He said for each of the male victims head is severed, he was paid 170,000 naira, while he was paid 160,000 naira for the heads of females. He was on a mission for the 5th head on the 19th of May 2019 when he was caught by personnel of the police force. Speaking during his parade, Commissioner of Police in charge of FCT, CP Bala Shiroma, said efforts are being intensified to arrest his master, who is currently at large. On how he got involved in the act, Aliu said, I approached Malam Yahaya because I was stranded and needed 7,000 for my education. After complaining to him, he offered me a plate of rice and canned malt. After consuming the meal, I could no longer speak. I could not even respond to what the Malam said. I walked back to my area with the substance he gave to me. He told me that if I touch any child with it, he will not make a sound.
It is also important to state that the command is making concerted effort to curb the menace of one-chance robbery and 419 in the FCT. Part of the measures deployed by the command include clampdown on operators of unpainted taxis, raids of black spots, use of meeting points for one-chance robbers. This is to complement other existing measures put in place by the command to checkmate crime generally. I therefore want to enjoin members of the public to complement our effort by being security conscious, vigilant, and avoid using unpainted taxis. Below are some of the achievements recorded by the command in the last couple of weeks. 1. Arrest of suspects and recovery of exhibits. On the 19th of May at about 14:30, following a distress call, police operatives arrested one Mustafa Aliu, 22 years, in possession of a freshly severed head of a 3-year-old boy, who was later identified as Usman Awalu of Rudon Fulani, close to Lele village in Kwali area council. The suspect confessed that prior to his arrest, he had beheaded 4 children and gave their heads to his master, who is now at large. According to him, he is paid 170,000 for every male victim and 160,000 for every female victim. He said his victims were taken from Sheda, Kwali, Kilankwa, Waku, and Lele villages. Effort is being intensified to arrest his master, who is currently at large.
I don't register Waika and Nico for Koduna. I know your money, Wago enter motor, go to Koduna, Mago right to Congo, the Malay house. May help me with 7,000. A concert, no wala. Like we can't talk like that. You can't give me food, you can't give me rice with beans, with common, like why eat or like why take all this food. Like the food where you give me, what take, the food where you give me, what take. All the talk where you can't talk with me. I know talk anything. You can't give me cutlass. You can't give me cutlass. You can't give me one clothes. You can't give me clothes. You can't give me clothes. Already like I can't wear them. I can't wear the clothes. You can't talk with me. You can't talk with me.
So you can't begin to cut people head. How do they see the people? Where do they see them?
At the 4 road.
4 road.
Yes.
Now children have been a big person.
Children.
How many?
How old? 20 years or 15 years.
How many you don't cut their head?
the one four.
Yes, if you say the woman
Man too.
Na four, not be waiting talk about.
No.
And on the foreign scene, the chief of staff of the Ethiopian Army, General Sierre Mekonnen, has been shot dead by his own bodyguard in the capital Addis Ababa. He and another officer died trying to prevent a coup attempt against the administration in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region. In Amhara itself, regional governor Bachui Mekonnen was killed along with an advisor. The government says the situation is under control after arrests were made. The Prime Minister has gone on TV to urge Ethiopians to unite in the face of evil forces set on dividing the country. The U.S. State Department has warned its staff in Addis Ababa to stay inside. Ethnic violence has hit Amhara and other parts of Ethiopia in recent years. Since his election last year, Mr. Abiy has moved to end political repression by releasing political prisoners, removing bans on political parties, and prosecuting officials accused of human rights abuses. General Sierra was killed on Saturday evening at his residence along with another general, Gezai Abera, by the bodyguards, who is now in custody. The government says it has reason to think the attack was linked to the assassination of the governor of Amhara a few hours earlier in the region's capital, Bahida. Mr. Ambachwe was killed at a meeting in his office along with his senior advisor, Aziz Wasie, while the region's attorney general was wounded. Leka Yale has now been appointed as the region's acting governor. The Prime Minister's office accused Amhara's regional security chief, Brigadier General Asaminu Tsige, of plotting a coup attempt. It is unclear whether he has been arrested. Many of those involved in the coup attempt are under arrest, and operations are in progress to detain others, the PM's press said. The U.S. launched a cyber attack on Iranian weapons system on Thursday as President Trump pulled out of airstrikes on the country. The cyber attack disabled computer systems controlling rocket and missile launchers. It was in retaliation for the shooting down of a U.S. drone, as well as attacks on oil tankers that the U.S. has blamed Iran for. There is no independent confirmation of damage to Iranian systems. The U.S. has also imposed sanctions President Trump described as major. He said the sanctions were needed to prevent Iran from obtaining nuclear weapons, and economic pressure would be maintained unless Tehran changed course. Speaking in Jerusalem, U.S. National Security Advisor John Bolton said the details of the new sanctions were likely to be announced on Monday. Tensions between the U.S. and Iran have risen since the U.S. last year pulled out of a 2015 nuclear deal between Iran and world powers and reinstated sanctions, triggering economic meltdown in Iran. Last week, Iran said it will exceed internationally agreed limits on its nuclear program. Mr. Trump has said he does not want a war with Iran, but warned the country would face obliteration if conflict broke out. The attack had been planned for several weeks, the U.S. sources told U.S. media outlets, and was suggested as a way of responding to the mine attacks on tankers in the Gulf of Oman. Istanbul residents are voting to elect a mayor after an opposition candidate's surprise victory in March was annulled. Ekrem İmamoğlu won by 13,000 votes, prompting allegations of irregularities from Turkey's ruling AK party. Mr. İmamoğlu had vowed to battle for democracy, and polls say he is likely to beat former Prime Minister Binali Yildirim for a second time. The vote is being widely seen as a referendum on President Recep Tayyip Erdogan and his party. As a former mayor of Istanbul, Turkey's economic and cultural center, home to 15 million people, Mr. Erdogan has often said that he who wins Istanbul wins Turkey. Polls close at 17 hours local time, with results expected later on Sunday. Mr. İmamoğlu, 49, is from the secular Republican People's Party and is mayor of Istanbul's Beylikdüzü district. His opponent, Mr. Yildirim, was a founding member of Erdogan's AKP and was Prime Minister from 2006 to 2018, when Turkey became a presidential democracy and the role ceased to exist. He was elected Speaker of the new Parliament in February and before that served as Minister of Transportation and Communication. Mr. Imamoglu's name was barely known before he ran for mayor in the March election. His campaign message, "Everything will be all right," has struck a note of optimism in a city where many have become disillusioned following an economic recession that some blame on the government. When he was stripped of his victory in the March election, Mr. Imamoglu told supporters, "We will win back our rights with a smile on our face." He also said he will embrace those who resisted them. President Vladimir Putin has temporarily banned Georgian Airlines from flying to Russia amid rising tensions between the two countries. On Thursday, some 240 people were injured in protest in Georgia. The protests were ignited by appearances of a Russian MP in the country's parliament. Mr. Putin signed a decree on Friday suspending flights to Georgia by Russian airlines. The suspensions will start from July 8. A transport statement on Saturday said the reason for the latest suspension was to ensure a sufficient level of air security and arrears owed by Georgian companies. The Kremlin said the suspension on Russian airlines flying to Georgia was to ensure Russia's national security and protect Russian nationals from criminal and other unlawful activities. Tensions between the countries remain high 11 years after they fought a war over the region of South Ossetia. On Saturday, a news team from Russian state TV was attacked by two men on the street in the capital, Tbilisi. Nobody appeared to have been seriously hurt in the incident, which was captured on film. Ms. Putin has ordered plans to be made to help bring back Russian citizens already in Georgia. Moscow also recommended that Russian travel agencies suspend all tours to Georgia. Several thousand Russian tourists are currently in Georgia, and according to Russian data, about 500,000 Russians have visited Georgia to date this year, while 1.7 million of them went there last year. In Cambodia, a 7-story building has collapsed, killing at least 18 people, with others reportedly missing. At least 24 people have been injured, severe, others severely critical, as the search for survivors continues. The building under construction in the coastal city of Sihanoukville was owned by a Chinese company. In recent years, Sihanoukville has been transformed by the construction of Chinese hotels and casinos. 4 people have been arrested over the collapse, including the Chinese building owner and the head of the construction firm and contractor. A Cambodian landowner has also been taken in for questioning. Reports vary on the number of people missing as rescue efforts continue. 3 of the victims have been confirmed as Cambodians, 2 workers and a translator. About 1,000 people contributed to rescue effort, which involved using saws to cut steel beams in order to move piles of rubble from the site. Construction workers told newsmen that they were also living in the building. The provincial governor said about 50 workers would usually be on site at the time of the building collapse. The building collapse, the worst of its kind in Cambodia in recent years, will raise further questions over the rates and sustainability of construction in Sihanoukville. It is also likely to add to rising anti-Chinese sentiment in the country. The once small fishing village saw a boom in tourism in the 2000s, but the last 3 years has seen the area change beyond recognition, with the construction of dozens of casinos, catering mostly for Chinese tourists. And when we come back after this break, it will be time for sports news. Stay with us. And in sports news, substitute Odion Igalo came on to net a 77th minute goal after a sumptuous backheel assist by Ola Aina to end Nigerian Super Eagles a hard-fought victory over the Swallows of Burundi. Nigeria's manager Gernot Rohr raised a few eyebrows when starting up the lineup, revealed as Vice Captain Ahmed Musa, Leon Igalo, and others were left on the bench, whilst gangling striker Paul Onage got a starting point. President of the Nigerian Football Federation, Amaju Phoenix, who is the first Vice President of CAF and President of AFCON, dedicated the victory to President Muhammadu Buhari, who has spoken to the players to raise their spirits 2 hours before the match. And just before we go, let's look at the stories that made headlines. Vice President Yemi Osinbajo says the federal government is adopting short-term, mid-term and long-term measures, including improving infrastructure towards resolving the Apapa gridlock and easing traffic around the area. Kogi State's All Progressives Congress-led faction of Hadi Ameto and Abdullahi Bello have resolved to work together as one party under the leadership of Governor Yahaya Bello in order to achieve victory come November 29, 2019 governorship election. And the Chief of Staff of the Ethiopian Army, General Siye Mekonnen, has been shot dead by his own bodyguard in the capital, Addis Ababa. He and another officer died trying to prevent a coup attempt against the administration in Ethiopia's northern Amhara region. And that's the news. But just before we go, do remember that you can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Clearview TV. Like us on Facebook via Clearview Television Online. Follow us on Twitter at Clearview Online, as well as Instagram on Clearview TV_NG. You can also watch Clearview TV on Ashcomsat with any free-to-air decoder. For details, contact your local installer. I am Nten. Many thanks for watching.